Hello, welcome back and welcome in. My name is Nikki Wheeler. If you're interested in gaming, go subscribe to my other channel and follow my Twitch to see my gaming live. Now, let's start this video. Today, I will be discussing Ariana Grande, definitely one of the world's most known pop stars who only started acting with the Broadway show 13 and then getting a big break with Victorious on Nickelodeon, which then launched her into her singing career to superstardom. She released her debut album a couple months later after Victorious's cancellation, titled Yours Truly. It tries to explore a 90s R&B and pop sound with features like Mac Miller and Big Sean, but also has some sounds of doo-wop and 50s piano pop. The sound was a more sophisticated experiment from her core audience she was trying to garner from her previous Nickelodeon fans. Yours Truly leading single The Way was her first major success in the pop music world and her first track to chart on the Billboard's US Hot 100, peaking at number 9. Vocally speaking, Ariana was put on such a high pedestal, and for good reason, being compared to people like Mariah Carey, which was definitely one of her inspirations. On this album, there's 12 songs, all of which carry their own weight, but some of the best ones to me are The Way, Daydreaming, Popular Song, and Better Left Unsaid. I'm going to start with The Way to get it out of the way, because if you were a fan of new pop in 2012 to 2013, you can understand why the song was so popular and why it performed so well. Ariana went from Nickelodeon to this professional sounding singer, so that was definitely one factor. But it also samples a Brenda Russell song, so the music itself was already incredibly made. But there's no denying her vocal capabilities in this song. Mac Miller was added to the song not long after because Ariana had wanted him on it, and within the month it was produced and pushed out. Mac's verse was well written and complemented the overall vibe the song puts out, and feels like he was one of the major producers on the song when he wasn't. You can tell the charisma in his lyrics couple well with Ariana's, which is the major reason I think the song did do so well. The next song, Daydreamin', was another favorite of mine because the verses continue to explore her romantic daydreams as she sings about how she couldn't wait to hold this person in her arms and how she fell in love with all of their endearing qualities. The bridge also adds a deeper level of emotion as it expresses her longing for the love she dreams and needs like never before. I also can't help but fall in love with the actual sound of the music, with simple piano and a slow pace that goes into a beat drop for the chorus and a higher note. It's a perfect concoction suited for this title. This album was definitely a strong release for a newly freed actress of Nick, but it wouldn't compare to her next release, My Everything, releasing in August 2014. It included the iconic song Problem with Iggy Azalea and some others that I enjoyed like Break Free, Love Me Harder, and Just a Little Bit of Your Heart. She remains anchored in the 90s soul on My Everything, and it's hard to deny her love for Mariah, although Ariana rarely indulges in the high-flying melisma. There are some serious facilities of hip hop, something that's showcased via the countless cameos that eat up pretty much all of the middle of the album. I've seen many comments on this one talking about how the features overshadow Ariana's parts and kind of shove her aside, not leaving any room for her vocal capabilities, when I believe it is definitely the opposite. Specifically with Love Me Harder, The Weeknd's part is probably seen as like a looming cloud overhead of Ariana's basic pop chorus, when I see it as a surplus to the song as a whole, an addition, which basically all a feature is. They worked well together with The Weeknd's 1980s aesthetic that he carries from his own songs, and even worked together in future releases. Then you have songs like Break Free, where you have Zed on the song, which isn't a vocal feature rather than a musical feature, adding EDM to the mix. Exploring themes of liberation, empowerment, and self-discovery in the context of a past romantic relationship. The lyrics convey the idea of breaking free from a toxic and suffocating love. I feel like I really liked this song, but I'm not too sure as to why, because I'm not huge on EDM, but I know it wasn't solely on Ariana's performance and lyrical content. It may just be one of those songs that you could definitely easily dance to, which is great. On this album, I think Ariana wanted to be more charismatic, and I think she achieved it really well, but still hasn't stepped on the gas fully like a quote unquote traditional pop diva would, but would prove otherwise on the third album, Dangerous Woman. She officially stepped into the full-fledged woman she is, stepping away from general relationship songs, heartbreak toxicity, and more into the lustful and dangerous acts. Some of my favorite songs were Bad Decisions, Greedy, and Dangerous Woman. With Greedy, she talks about how she has never felt these feelings before and how she wants to make it obvious that she is interested in this person. The song emphasizes the importance of owning one's emotions instead of denying them and being true to oneself, which is one of the best topics to be written about to me. I feel like there are so many ways to go about the actual lyrical content because we have different ways of navigating that subject. Ariana does truly shine when she is speaking freely and is at the center 100%. It is definitely the highlight of the album and is my top song. Dangerous Woman is definitely a close second because of lyrics like, "Cause it's my business, God is my witness, start what I finish." And then, taking control of this kind of moment, I'm locked and loaded, completely focused, my mind is open. Depending on the context, being focused, testing one's limits, keeping an open mind, and being aware of oversight can be good, empowering things. Track by track, Dangerous Woman has sly, subtle distinctions. A little bit of a torch gives way to some heavy hip-hop, only to have frothy pop surface again. And while some of these cuts work better than others, the range is impressive, as is Grande's measured and assured performance. Now, Sweetener was the start of a new era that I can't describe, but it was cool listening to the growth musically from Dangerous Woman to this because they were so drastically different, but not at the same time. The differences are definitely more clear when actually listening, so I highly suggest listening to these two one after another. Now, starting with my favorite track, The Light Is Coming, it talks about taking back the light and dismissing darkness. It lacks much instrumental, which it doesn't need. It is more of a down-tempo song with a kind of jittery beat is the best way to put it. It is low-key, and Nicki Minaj's verse on it elevated the song 10 times over, as she always does. Then you have songs like Successful. The song encourages listeners to enjoy and celebrate their successes, whether it be in their personal life or professional life. I think the best part of these songs are the kind of monotone style. It is different from a lot of Ariana's past work and sees that she doesn't need to be kind of extravagant to be a good singer. The blessing here is the maturity and focus Ariana displays on Sweetener, an album that broadens and deepens the R&B inclinations of Dangerous Woman. She demonstrates restraint, which isn't merely an indication of stylistic maturity, but how her songs actually resonate. Such concentration doesn't simply result in a stronger set of songs, but an album that coheres in a way other Ariana Grande albums don't, which means Sweetener is something of a double triumph. She comes through a tough time stronger and better than before. Continuing this new era of music, we have the fifth album, Thank You Next. This whole album was a major success after the song Thank You Next and Seven Rings that took the whole globe by storm. It still remains one of her most sold albums at 3.7 million copies. Fake Smile, Bad Idea, and Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored are all some of the best material Ariana has put out to date in my opinion, though this album is not my favorite. As a whole, the album to me wasn't my style, but I liked it a lot and can understand its overall popularity amongst a wide audience as it had. Bad Idea creates a catchy electropop ambiance with a majestic outro and luscious pop sounds. All in all, the song conveys a sense of desperation and the temptation to pursue harmful behaviors in order to escape emotional pain. And even as sad as that theme may be, it keeps its tone throughout and actually kind of works like a retribution kind of piece rather than a summertime sadness song. Fake Smile was another one of those that is definitely really sad when you listen to it, but it's quite calming with the music, and the lyrics are consistent and well thought out. Again, the music is definitely what carries some of these tracks for me, but the three I had mentioned are some of the lyrically best from the way I see it. I enjoy the album, but I can't see myself listening and learning each and every song, though I do surprisingly know a lot of this album. Now we can move into the sixth and last album so far, Positions. It is the last album from this new era, but it took a left and went jazz-inspired pop that included orchestras and brass instruments. I think this album is the first album I know every song from and can recognize without any issue. I don't know what about it, but it just hit and was easy to listen to. It may just be jazz pop that I love on top of the features that are on this album because my favorite song is Off the Table with The Weeknd. It is a harmonious duet between the two talking about potential love in the future after a split. The track features a slow, synth-heavy instrumental complemented by lush strings in the background. Also, the fact that both artists in this case do some of the most fluid and soft high notes make it 10 times better. And then you have a track like Love Language, which is heavily competing with Off the Table for my favorite spot. This song is a unique one because of the outro, which is just one of the features that I love about it. It ends the chorus and goes silent for a couple seconds just to rev back up, and I have noticed a lot of songs have been doing that in hip-hop, pop, and even some alt scenes. Whatever it is, I absolutely adore it in every song that I've heard so far, and there isn't an exception here either. The song is best described as disco meets New Jack Swing, which Janet Jackson is one of the most known New Jack artists out there, and her music is definitely top tier, so it kind of equals out. While it wasn't my favorite, the song My Hair was crazy impressive because the last 30 seconds of the song, Ariana shows off her high notes and whistle tones, and I was shocked, to say the least. The album undoubtedly is a top record, and I'm sad that it didn't get nearly as much love as her previous, though I'm sure we can all agree anything Ariana puts out will get the attention it deserves and will definitely be well received for the most part. Now, let's move into the rankings of the album. This is the best to worst scale, but I don't consider any of these albums bad whatsoever, so no harm, no foul. At number 1, I have Positions. At number 2 is Sweetener. Number 3 is Dangerous Woman. Number 4 is My Everything. Number 5 is Thank You Next. And number 6 is Yours Truly. Ariana Grande was bound to be a pop star from the beginning and has achieved multiple well-deserved awards, and I hope to see her 7th album one day. I enjoyed her jazz-inspired pop and her traditional R&B and pop records. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and leave a like for more content like this. Until next time, bye guys.